Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be reviewing a knitting book, which is the Knockout Knit Hats and Hoods by Diane Serviss. It is this book right here. Before I start, I just wanted to mention that I received a copy for reviewing purposes, but all opinions are my own. In fact, I won't even be able to keep this copy because it's just an e-copy that it will erase itself after a period of time. So it is only for the review. And of course I want to start by mentioning that this is only hats and hoods, just as the name says. It includes 30 patterns in total, and like this is one of them, and the photography is just quite beautiful, and you are able to see very far away, like a editorial kind of photograph for the patterns, and it also includes close-ups so you can admire the hat and decide what you want to make or not. The first section in this book is like how to use this book, and includes instruction on how to read a pattern if you would never have, then the sizing, gauge, and needles, also yarn, and if you decide to substitute your yarn for something such, it explains you right here how to go about it, and like things you need to keep in consideration, like yarn weight, length, and so on. And finally it also has a instruction of blocking and swatching, which is really important for knitted projects, especially when you use wool. And in sizing part, it says that each pattern begins with an indication of what size head the finished garment should fit, as well as the measurement of the finished piece lying flat. And that's true, every single pattern has that information. Like this is the very first pattern in the book. It is a very beautiful lace design, and just like they say, this says that the circumference of the brim laying flat without stretching is for 17 inches or 43 centimeters. And this is to fit a circumference of 20 to 23 inches head, 50.5 to 58 centimeters, of course, because it needs to stretch and it needs to be a little fitted so it won't fall off your head. This book includes a wide variety of patterns. It includes lace, as I just showed you. It includes a lot of cables as well, different kind of hats, textures. It includes hats that are very fitted, slouchy like this one. There is one that is pointy. It is one of those that is called a pixie hat because it's kind of like a gnome, and it is end with a little point. And you will also find very modern hats. Some of them are quite classy, and then you have the more fantasy inspired one, like the one that is shown in the cover and the pixie one. Not all the patterns include charts, but when it's necessary it does, like this one of lace includes one. Just not showing it because I don't want to infringe into copyright, and the important part of this book is the patterns itself, of course, but I just want to mention that many of the patterns do include charts, especially when it's lace and when it's color work. Then each pattern is divided, and first you have the information before you start, like the finger measurements that I just said. Then has information on the yarn use, including not only the weight and the yardage, but also like what kind of blend it is, so then you will be able to substitute this yarn for something similar if you would like to. Of course, the needles and materials like stitch markers and so on, the gauge, or also known as tension, and then finally it has a section of a stitch pattern repeat, so you will be able to get that outside the pattern to make it easier to follow. Finally, notes. So if you want to know the construction or special things that you need to keep in mind when choosing the pattern. And then the pattern stud, and again the pattern itself is divided by brim, body, and the crown shaping that usually includes some kind of stitches being in the crease so it can close the crown. And finally the shaping, Finally, the finishing of the pattern, that is like weaving in ends, blocking if it needs to, and so on. And like just an example, this is one of the patterns that does not include a chart, but as you can see is texture and is really easy to follow only with the written instructions, so you don't really need a chart for this. After all of the patterns have been presented to you, then you will find the section with stitches and techniques, which includes written instructions as well as very nice photography tutorials, so you can be able to do every single stitch that is required to do if you want to knit any of the hats in here. And that is from the very basic knit stitch that most knitters are already familiar with, the purl stitch, and cast on, to something that is not so popular or not every knitter knows, like true color cast on, or the temporary cast on, like the one is made with a crochet hook, and so on. So you can be very confident that you will be able to follow every single instructions, even if it is something new to you, because there is a section with all those tutorials included for you. After that, you can see a list of all the abbreviations. I think you can really see it. It's mostly white and my lighting is interfering with it, but it's all the abbreviations and ABC order and alphabetical order, so you will be able to reference and know which one it is. So you have the abbreviations and what it means, and after that you can find a stitch and technique index with the name of the stitch or the name of the technique, and right after it you can see what page it is. So you will be, if you are working on a pattern and you don't know how to do a certain technique and you don't want to browse page by page, you can go to the index, look it up right there, and find the page. And something else that I really like is they also have a visual index for every single pattern. All of the 30 patterns are included in small photographs in a total of 3 pages. So if you are looking for something to knit and you don't want to look page by page and go through the patterns, then you can just limit your search to 3 easy pages, which I think is very nice. And then of course this index includes the picture, as I show you, includes the name of the pattern and the page where you can find it. And that's pretty much it. That is the whole book. Overall, I think is a very good buy. It includes, as I mentioned, it's just a wide variety, so maybe you won't like all of the patterns in there, maybe you will. I think all of them are quite beautiful, but some of them are more suitable like for teenagers or someone that is a very free spirit. Like, I know not everyone will be using a pixie hat and looking like a gnome, but there are other ones that are quite classic and they can fit with anything. They can be beautiful with a pair of jeans and just a normal jacket, you know, you casual wear. So there's something there for pretty much everyone and every single taste, which I think it makes it a great book for knitters that don't only knit for themselves but also knit for family and friends. So because your friends might have a different taste that what you have. Also, because it includes 30 patterns, it makes it very worth the price for it, because if you were to buy those patterns individually, they can range all the way from $3 all the way to $7 or so. So being able to have 30 patterns, even if you don't like 1 or 2, is still way more affordable than buying patterns individually. Another thing that is very nice is that the yarn, there's a wide variety of yarn used in the sense of brands, so it doesn't focus on just one brand, and most of the brands you will be able to find at local stores that are throughout the United States, like in the case of Lion Brand, and there is also like Michael's, and those brands you can find at Walmart or other craft stores. So I think it makes it really accessible to pretty much almost any knitter that has a store close by. And if not, the book also includes links to every single yarn brand. So if maybe you live in the countryside and it's too far away for you, then you can order online, so it's certain that you will be able to find the yarn to create those hats some way or another. And even if you don't, if you have another preference, then the fact that it tells you the process on how to go about substituting yarn, then you don't even need to buy the yarn that is used in the book. You will be able to choose whatever you want, whatever you're more comfortable with, whatever you have in your stash, or whatever you want to buy. So I will be leaving a link below in case you decided that this book is maybe something you want to get in your knitting book collection. And if you would like to see more reviews, or you have a comment about this review, please leave a comment below. And don't forget to give it a like and subscribe.